Hello, hello, hello. Can you hear me? You're going to need your headphones, though, I think. It's like, what are you drinking,
This
Lauren?
is not beer.
Right. I'm really excited about this session, not least because I almost couldn't get my speaker in, but which is here. I'm Ellie Edwards-Scott, co-founder of the Advisory Collective, doing another Honesty Sessions with the amazing, fabulous, talented lady that I'm so blessed to call a friend, Lauren Ogundeko, who is Chief Digital Officer of Initiative.
Hi.
So, as we know, some of you have sat in on some of these sessions earlier. Lauren, this is about sharing, being honest, and giving advice as well to our audience. So, we're going to dig deep, but before we do, can you give us a bit of a potted history of your career journey so far? And maybe pick out some highlights as well.
Okay, can you hear me? Okay. Oh, you all look very attentive. So, highlights, or actually I'll go all the way back. So I studied computer science and thought I was going to be an engineer, a software engineer. And back in the day, I'm not going to age myself.
I was going to say, which day?
Well, back in the day, when computers just came out, I'm joking. Coding back then was really, really difficult. It's a lot it was a lot harder than it is now. Now you've got ChatGPT writing codes for you. Lazy people. Some of us had to go through hours and hours of code to find out it's a full stop that's stopping the code from working. And I don't have patience. I think I've got an undiagnosed ADHD. So back then, I couldn't hack it. Not that I wouldn't have made a good engineer. I mean, I could have been on the board of Facebook. Who knows? Anyway, not to go off on a tangent. See, ADHD. I decided to go into marketing because whilst in uni, I was a bit of an entrepreneur. So I had my own websites. I discovered affiliate marketing really, really early on, and stumbled into the world of SEO and paid search. And from there, really, really got hooked into it. Thought, oh my God, this is really interesting, and discovered an industry. And I'm going to come back on that. Didn't really understand that there was an industry, and there could be an industry in digital marketing, but I went into that space. And my career has culminated from independent agency, consultancy. I've done my own thing. And now with a network agency. This is my third network agency.
So you've been in the networks.
I've been in the networks.
Yeah, you've done it.
I think I'm going to stick with IPG because
Cool.
the others are ghetto. Anyone from WPP here? No? Great.
Chatham House rules apply. But I think we're being recorded, so.
I love Karen Blackett.
What are you like? Talking about, it's funny you mentioned Karen Blackett actually, because Karen is a good friend of mine and an ally. I'm using these words so to you and talk about how important they've been in your career. So mentorship, allyship, sponsorship, and Karen uses the word cheerleaders. She talks about having cheerleaders in our corner, which is really important. So what has that meant to you throughout your career?
Oh my God, I've got so much to say about this. So when I mentioned earlier, discovering this industry, there wasn't any people or anyone that looked like me, just Karen. So I was like, why is there just Karen?
Yes.
And I stumbled into this industry and I realized that everybody knew each other, which blew my mind. So in the digital space, people just come into the industry. You don't have to know anyone. It's all about what you know. In the media industry, oh my God, it is about who you know, who your dad is, your cousin, your uncle, your auntie. The neighbor, the dog,
golf with, who you drink
everyone.
with.
So everyone knows everybody, which I found fascinating and also really concerning because I didn't naturally know some people that had been in the industry for 20 odd years. So I came from the digital side, and there was quite a bit of a juxtaposition with people that came from digital and people in media.
Yeah.
They hate each other.
Yeah.
So I came in like, I'm going to come into media agencies and change things. And it's like, oh, you do digital. Oh, well, back in my day when there was only 4
TV
channels.
Or press or,
and you know, there's this conflict. The conflict has sort of died down, but it's still there. I remember seeing Karen and thinking, okay, there's this one black woman. I don't know how sorry, I swear. Am I allowed to swear? Who's
We're
going
on
to be
video, I
offended?
mean-
Sorry, I kind of like just, yeah. I was like, who the fuck? Like, it's just this one woman. Like, what's going on? So I decided, right, I'm going to have a personal mission to be like another black woman that's senior in the industry. And I'm going to do it my way because I didn't come from, you know, public school. I didn't know this person, that person. I was just like hustling, but on my own knowledge and knowing that I'm like technically like, look, I'm going to boast a little and it's all right for women to boast. No one can hold a candle to me technically. So for me, it was like, that's my superpower,
we should boast about
right?
Yeah, we should
Gotta
boast.
boast,
Exactly.
right? So when it comes to allyship, what I found really, really interesting for me is that the people that pushed me forward were white men, right? And I know, like, some people might think white men are the devil. They're not. There are some who genuinely will promote you, will make sure that, you know, you get a seat at the table, will be like, oh, Lauren, what's your opinion?
And that's so important.
My experience.
And that is so important, I think, genuinely in careers. Like, how, you know, this is about female leaders bar. Ultimately, Dan and Ian came to me as a female entrepreneur to say, how do we get this going? You need those allies and supporters.
Allies who are men.
How do you progress? So it's important.
And if you look at the top of all the network agencies, it's all men, right? We all know that it's all white men. There's no colour. And I'm just going to tell it like it is. But from my perspective, they are the ones who have helped me get to where I am today. And I'm not there tokenistically. You have to know what the fuck you're doing to do my job, right? There is so much technicality involved. I'm dealing with multiple media owners. I'm dealing with multiple channels. There is a whole bunch of like really deep technical expertise that you need to have to do this job. And for me, that's what I rely on. It's not the fact that I'm a black woman. It's the fact that I actually know what I'm doing. I'm a black woman, so that becomes a bonus, I think, to the not to me, because that, it's not about
it's
me.
It's a bonus to the company.
You,
so
right? It's a bonus to the company.
Exactly.
Exactly.
You've raised some really important points. And I'm going to keep on that network element because there are lots of industry initiatives, you know, female-led initiatives.
There's a lot. There's so many
Bloom,
WhatsApp groups.
Wacko,
Oh my God. Stop adding me to WhatsApp group.
Lou
just added me to one the other day.
I'm really excited about. There's Wildflowers of London. But it's important, right? But what else, apart from having these female networks, what else can we be doing? Like, what advice can we give to women in the industry about how do we level up? How do we make that next step? How do we shout about what we're doing?
So we don't get naturally told about how to become a leader. So the one person that's made a massive impact in my career is a guy called Adrian Green, who runs a coaching business called Pressure Point. And he's Karen's coach as well. And when I met him, I was in this really weird space. I was in a digital agency that I'd helped build. They had sold. I got fuck all out of it. And I was I was in a really low place. And they were like, okay, we're going to get you some coaching. I was like, okay. But he came into my life, and I was like, he completely changed my life. And I tell him, and he kind of gets like a little bit mushy, like, you changed my life. After the sessions I had with you, I left the company because I knew that I was worth more, right? And the coaching absolutely unlocked a certain level of leadership acumen that you don't get told.
You don't get taught that either. You don't get taught that.
You don't get taught that. The guys sort themselves out and say, oh, don't worry, I'll put you on this, I'll put you on that, I'll teach you how to do X, Y, Z. But us females do not get exposed to that unless you are in that circle. So he taught me so much. I was able, and it's all about confidence. One thing I use as an example is a man will look at a job description and only be able to fulfill 20% of it and rock up to the job and say, yes, I should actually have your job, right? Whereas a woman will be, oh my God, I've only got like 90%. Oh God, that 10% is really, they're going to see right through it. And we have to flip the script, right? We have to be completely bold and confident in the way we approach our life and our career. Don't leave your career in someone else's hands. those are the things that Adrian taught me. He was like, look, be confident and never change who you are. Who you are is going to get you to where you want to get to. And back then I was like, what do you mean? I'm a bit brash, I'm abrasive, I think I'm funnier than I am. I'm like, is anyone really going to put me in a position of power? And he's like, no, Lauren, you absolutely have the quality. And I've been lucky enough, this is my second Chief Digital Officer role. And shout out to me. And all of you who are sitting here who absolutely do not think, none of you do not have the capacity and the brilliance to be CEOs, to be MDs, to be chief whatever, operation officer. Like, when I got exposed to this crew, I looked around, I was like, oh, well, I feel like I'm the most technically savvy amongst you. And you see that people got into the roles because of who they know, not because of what they know. And we come with I'm coming here because of what I know, right? And you hold on to that because it will get you far. What you then need to tap into is a confidence of a white man. Literally, you tap into that. That is what is going to unlock certain superpowers for you.
That's a really nice segue into my next question, which was about advice, because a lot of the time, our industry, we focus about advice of getting into the industries, like junior level. Great initiatives, you know, DigiLearning, I've got to give a shout out to them. I'm a trustee. The girls do some great work with entry-level talent coming into the industry. Yeah. They're not here, but they are here, but they're around there. But you know, you're going to see young talent on stages later. But there's a lot now being put into that. But how about that mid-level? How, you know, and taking that next leap? Because you're right, you know, when I got my first MD role, nobody really taught me how to run a P&L. I suddenly had to run a P&L and know how to balance a book and know what everyone's seat cost and etc. You know, where do people go for help, and what should they be looking at if they want to make that next move?
What I did, I was already finance savvy because I was doing my own thing back in the day. I advise everybody, when you leave here, go and find a finance course, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on Coursera, and do like a CFO type of course. Understand how to run a P&L, understand profit, loss, overheads, understand, you know, what happens when a company's in deficit, understand cash flow, really, really understand. That is basically 60% of what you need to do to be a leader.
It's running a business.
Probably 70%.
Yeah,
like if I'm being all the way real, that is what you need to know. Yeah. Once you understand the finance, because people won't put you in a role if you are going to lose them money.
Yes.
Right? A business is there to make money, and you need to be okay with that. It's all about profit, right? It's not about the fact that, we know that companies should do good, but a business is there to make money.
And a business won't survive unless they do make money.
If you don't understand that, then go and work for a charity. But charities also make money as well, right? Yeah. So understanding how a P&L runs is absolutely the most important thing I will say to anybody here. Please, please, please do like 6-week course, like watch a couple of videos and get your head around it, right? And then I think the next thing from my perspective is, this is very controversial, but I'm going to say it. If where you are isn't valuing who you are, fucking leave, right? Leave. Just leave, right? Leave. It's okay. Like, the job that I'm doing now, I'm very clear about what I bring to the table, the value that I bring to the business. And if I was extracted from that business, they know the value they will lose, right? I came in, there was a client that was going to fire us, and this client is worth about 70 million to the business. And I told Ellie, she didn't see me for months.
You were MIA.
I was literally MIA because I was working on this account, Lou as well. And not only did they turn around and say, we're not going to leave, we're actually going to give you 500K more because we realize that we've actually under invested in the people that you're giving us, but we want you to start to think about 2024, right? And I say that because it's important to understand the value that you bring to the business, because if the business doesn't understand your value, you take it somewhere else. It's a quid pro quo. You have value, the business have value. They're paying you to perform a role. And you need to be okay to understand that that role that you're performing, you are there because you are qualified to be there. If they don't appreciate that and they're not paying you well and they're not promoting you, move. There's so many other places that will look at you like God when you step in.
Definitely. There's some solid advice there. We're nearly at time, but keeping on that
God, I
advice
love
track.
talking to
I
you
know,
like
you and I
this.
could just chat. But I haven't seen you for ages. But anyway, that's another story.
We've got gossiping to do.
I won't start about that. But we are in it time. But advice to your younger self, right? So you talked about a few things. You talked about confidence. You talked about knowing your value and knowing your worth, which are important. But I also feel, not to be patronising, but as you get older, you understand yourself a bit better, and you realise this. So what would your advice to your younger self be?
Okay,
to younger Lauren.
I've got two ways to look at this. There's one advice that says stick with the coding. Bitch, you could have been a millionaire today. and then the other advice is like, oh my God, can we get a time machine? The other advice is do not be scared to move on. I should have left the role that I talked about, that I put so much into, that they got sold. I should have left 2 years earlier, but I stayed for an additional 2 years, longer than I should have. So I would have said to myself, be confident in yourself. Like I said, we have value. The skills that we have, that we nurture over years and years and years, the experience that you build up is worth a monetary value.
It is.
So understanding that and being confident in that and moving on is okay, Lauren.
Yeah.
Is what I'll say to my younger self.
Yeah, I'll add to that. And some advice to my younger self. And again, I stayed in a position longer than I should have done. I think we all have.
We've all got
that,
one of those.
Because there's that fear of that unknown, isn't it? You've got that salary and it's a bit shit sometimes, but actually, it's that what if, and you don't know.
Yeah.
But taking a leap. I mean, 8 years ago, I took the leap to start up my own business, and 6 years ago,
shout out to you.
Thank you. To the Advisory Collective with Lisa. And it's still we're having certain times sometimes, but actually taking the leap is the most important thing. And
and
I'm glad I've done
Ellie was at the highest level in WPP, right? Another black woman that was an MD in a very prominent business. To be able to do that is no easy feat at all. And again, it's because of your financial acumen that got you there.
Yeah, you understand.
So
your
important
value.
to have.
Yeah, it is.
So shout out to you.
Thank you so much. Lauren, that was awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening.